And a very good evening to all my viewers out there. We are here in front of City Hall in Montreal, Quebec, my home city. It is currently Wednesday, September the 13th, 2017. It's about 10:06 p.m. right now. And you're actually looking at the new flag for the City of Montreal. This was just unveiled today, actually. And before this flag was here, there was a very similar flag, but with one key difference, and that is the middle. That middle white tree that you see there was not there before today. And, you know, I'm really excited about this because that center symbol there is actually a white pine tree, and that is a Iroquois First Nation symbol. And the main reason that the news is so big today is because before this flag was unveiled, there was no representation of the First Nations on the Montreal flag. And just a bit of background, the top left corner is the fleur de lis. That's actually representing the French. And the top right corner is the red rose of Lancaster. That's representing the English. And the bottom left is, I believe it's a thistle, a Scottish thistle. That's representing the Scottish. And on the lower right is a shamrock representing the Irish. And of course, as of today, you have that middle symbol, which is a white pine tree. So white pine is a peace symbol by the Iroquois First Nations, and that's representing, of course, the First Nations and Aboriginal contribution to the city. And, you know, let me tell you, it's about time that they, you know, put some representation on this flag for the First Nations, because, you know, they deserve so much more. And, you know, up until today, I'm going to actually post a link on my YouTube channel of the old flag, comparing it to this flag. And let me tell you, this flag is beautiful. And I think that central symbol really makes that flag more lively. And, you know, just a bit of background information. The City of Montreal, of course, before the French, the English, the Scots, the Irish, before, you know, the Europeans came here, this was Aboriginals that were here. This was the First Nations. And they were here long before any of the Europeans came here. And, you know, I'm not going to put this lightly, but, you know, the Europeans basically came here and caused chaos amongst the natives. And it's still, you know, the repercussions of that are still being felt today. You see a lot of, you know, native reserves and, you know, First Nations, Aboriginals, and a lot of crisis, you know, healthcare wise, education wise. A lot of the reserves don't even have access to clean water. And, you know, if you're not familiar, reserves are basically where the natives live. You know, you see a lot of them up north, but also, you know, near the cities. And a lot of them are, you know, the villages and these communities are in disarray. And, you know, I think we're starting to see an awakening now of how important it is to recognize the issues that they face, and at the same time to honor what they've done for Canadian society. And again, you know, I can't emphasize how strong the Aboriginal presence is in this country. I mean, they were here, like I said, long before anybody else. And, you know, their culture is just beautiful. And the stuff that they had to go through, the residential schools, you know, you hear about the genocide that actually happened. And that's another thing. One of the streets, Amherst Street in Montreal, is also going to be renamed. Amherst was actually a general, I believe, a British general that actually, believe it or not, caused a lot of chaos in the you know, Aboriginal community when the Europeans came. And there's a well-known story that he actually took blankets infected with smallpox and gave them to the natives in an attempt to wipe out their population. So, you know, they're going to be changing Amherst Street. The name of Amherst Street is going to be renamed, obviously. And you know, it's the right decision to make. Again, it's really nice to see this new flag, and it's beautiful. I love that tree in the middle. I'll try to zoom in here without compromising quality. I was debating whether to shoot this video across the street or here. Or I should say right underneath or here across the street. Decided to shoot it here because it kind of gives you a nicer perspective. But again, just to recap, that's our new flag of the City of Montreal, unveiled today on this beautiful autumn day here, this Wednesday, September 13th, 2017. And again, that flag now represents the French, the English, the Scottish, the Irish, and now First Nations as well, the Aboriginals of this beautiful country. And let me tell you, it's about time. So, I mean, you know, hopefully we're going to see more things honoring the First Nations, and hopefully we're going to start seeing, you know, changes in, you know, social attitudes towards their communities. And, you know, because like I said, I see firsthand how bad a lot of their communities are in terms of conditions. Now, that's not to say that, you know, there are some, you know, communities that are very good, that are very well off, that are fortunate, but there's a lot that unfortunately, you know, don't even have the basics, and you think it was a third world country. So, you know, I'm glad we're starting to recognize the importance of what the Aboriginals have done. And you know, kudos to the City of Montreal and, you know, Mayor Coder. I know a lot of his decisions haven't been the best. You know, I don't want to be political, but again, very beautiful new flag, and I love the symbolism behind it. So anyway, have a good night all, and see you all soon.